If you were to ask me when I was younger, I would say I was a Christian, but now I look back on that, I didn't hate my sin, I didn't love Jesus. That's not a Christian. Until it's my sophomore year, when I actually started reading my Bible for myself, that's when I would say I was a Christian, my mid-sophomore year. Everything I do when I wake up in the morning to when I go to bed, basically, like the interactions and conversations I have with people to my homework even, like to how well I do it to the speeches I give, making everything Christ-centered in my life. So not only my words profess Christ, but my life.
I am just so blessed to have a family that has made me go to church, but not only go to church, but they have helped me grow in my faith. I'd say it's still hard through life, but with having Christ, it has just been amazing. I feel so much more joyful going throughout my day and much more peace and not having I had less stress, and just knowing that God's there for me, it's just been awesome.
Like all through my childhood, my parents and my brother and I, we'd always go to church, and we would go every Sunday, but it never really occurred to me to have a relationship with Christ until I got older. So I put my trust in Jesus when I started going to Harvest Bible Chapel with the Lindell family, and I started going to Ignite and just really understanding what a relationship with God looked like, and that was my freshman year. So the very beginning, right before I started school, I put my trust in Jesus Christ. Things in this world don't last, and it's hard to people put their trust in worldly things all the time, and those just get ripped out of your hands. And so if you put your trust in God, then you know that He's always going to be there, and you have that security in you. And then just hope that everything's going to be okay, because obviously there's evil in this world and things go wrong and not exactly how we want them to, and we just know that God is working everything to His good, and so it gives us a lot of hope in how we live.
I grew up in a Christian home, so I went to church every Sunday. I did it first when I was really young, like 6 or 7, and then like a couple of years ago I went on a retreat. I rededicated myself to Christ. Rather than live for the world and for myself, and now it's my time living for God and doing the things that He thinks is right.
Growing up, I didn't really go to church with my family, and I just kind of did my own thing, and I just started going to church with some friends, and it wasn't really a family issue, and so I just started to have faith on my own, and I just continued that walk throughout my grade school and junior high, and just kept with friends that were Christians that kept me really growing in my faith. I put my faith and trust in Jesus when I was a junior in high school. I really struggled a lot for my first 2 years of high school, and so when it came to my junior year, I realized that it was time to just start trusting in God and giving Him everything. And it wasn't until this past January of 2013 that I actually got baptized and just actually went all in for Jesus Christ. Everything I do, I just look to Him for the glory, and I just make sure that I'm thankful for everything I do and everything I say, just so that He can get all the glory.
Well, I have 2 on fire for Christ parents, and they work with ministry, so I've grown up in ministry, so I've grown up seeing God's effect on people and seeing how God can change lives. I originally started off my walk with faith in around 3rd grade, but it wasn't until around sophomore year in high school that I started actually living on fire for God and started going up for Him. Jesus is my rock. Jesus is what I stand on. Everything that I live for Him. All the work I do is for Him. So without Him, I would have nothing to do.
I was raised up in a Christian home, and so I was surrounded by faith and just examples of faith. I became a Christian when I was 5, and I always believed in God, but it was until junior high until I started trusting Him with my life.
We went to church every Sunday, but we didn't ever really talk about it. It wasn't really a big part of our lives. It was just something we did. It was kind of just going through the motions for us, just going every Sunday. I would say we didn't really live for Him, we lived with Him. He was there.
Well, now I would say instead of just
living with him and him just being there in the back of my mind. I live for him, and everything I do, I want to do it for his glory, and it's just made a big difference in my life. I feel like I have more purpose now, and he always makes sure that I never feel like I'm alone.
Both of my parents were strong Christians. I grew up in a Catholic home, and until freshman year, I was just living their faith, and then freshman year I started living my own. I put my faith and trust in Jesus Christ October 14, freshman year at Fields of Faith, during Aaron Carnahan's testimony. Before I was a Christian, like I struggled with depression and things that, like little things that shouldn't bother me, bothered me a lot. And since then, it's just been like the calmness that Jesus brings with is like just knowing that God is sovereign, that He has a plan for everything.
Well, we always kind of like went to church every Sunday. That was a really big thing. And my church also had a Wednesday night program for kids, so we always went to that, and I always had a lot of fun. And whenever we would go out to we would always pray. And when I was little, it didn't really mean anything to me, but like now I think it's really cool because like we all say like the same prayer, so we're kind of like loud, so it's kind of cool to like people like look over to like, oh, that's cool, they're praying. So I think it's kind of cool. I knew that I would always kind of believe in him, but it wasn't until when I was in 7th grade I went to the winter retreat at Miracle Camp, and I actually like said the prayer to like bring him into my heart. And like high school's kind of been a struggle, especially like these past 2 years, but I've kind of come back to him lately. I've had like more of a spark. I know that he's always there, like when I have struggles, so it's really nice to know that I have someone there and that I could mess up like lots and lots and lots of times, and he's always gonna be there for me. 2 Corinthians chapter 12 verses 9 through 10, and it says, "But he said to me, my grace is all you need, my power is strongest when you are weak. So I am very happy to brag about how weak I am, when Christ's power can rest on me. Because of how I have suffered for Christ, I'm glad that I am weak. I am glad in hard times. I am glad when people say mean things to me. I am glad when things are difficult. I am glad when people make me suffer, because when I am weak, I am strong."
Jesus is alive.
Jesus is alive.
Jesus is alive. Jesus is alive because he's alive in me.
He's alive in me.
Jesus is alive
Because he's alive in me.
Jesus is alive because He's alive in me.
Because he's alive in me.